Boom.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your man Jay Kevo here with Leif Taylor, LaFay Taylor. Just having our regular conversation about all things health, wealth, relationships, happiness, and every other thing that you can think about in between. If it's a part of life, if it's a part of this plane of existence, then we're going to touch base with it and touch on it and talk about it.
Pretty much.
Just because that's how Kevin and Leif finds their joy, and whatever they have. What's up with you, Leif?
So not much, man. Just trying to get things cranked. Trying over here, trying to share everything before we
Gotcha,
get started.
gotcha. Well,
Give me
today we're
one
going to
second.
talk about finding joy and what you already have. Finding joy in the things that's already in your life. And a couple of things that got me thinking about this is number one, it's a new year. It's 2022.
Yes, it
So we're
is.
getting ready to begin our journey through the obstacle course of life that's been placed before us in this year. Who knows what's planned for us, but whatever's planned for us, we're going to talk about why it's important, how you can do it, and what things that you can do and implement and incorporate in your life that'll help you find joy, help you find contentment, help you find a little bit of happiness with what you already have. And just again, just thinking about it's the new year, and I know that for many, this is a time where people kind of think about where they're at, where they were,
Yep.
and where they like to go. And oftentimes, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, many of us associate happiness and joy with a future point, with a future goal, or with something that we desire to have in the future, often negating or neglecting the joy and the happiness and the contentment that we already have in the now, that we already possess. And again, it's 2022, and I think that a lot of people use this time to think about their desires and think about their goals and where they like to be, thinking that when they reach that end point, that they'll find true happiness. Oftentimes, realizing that, hey, I already had the things in my life that brings happiness. It's just that I wasn't present, I wasn't aware, I wasn't really thinking about what I already have. And I am, in times past, I've been guilty, of that
Yeah.
life, just looking to the future, thinking that once I reach a future point, once I obtain a future desire, once I meet that thing, once I obtain that ring, it's like, oh, I've got it now. I've reached happiness, and often to realize that, hey, dang man, the journey was really where I found happiness at. The process is
Yep.
often where you'll find, contentment and excitement, and find life. Find those things that makes life. As I'm talking, I'm thinking about younger playing video games and trying to conquer a level and get past certain obstacles and stuff in the game. And oftentimes reaching the end point of a game, it's like, is this it? It's like
Yeah.
you beat. It's like you get to a level and it's like, I got there, and it's like the credits just starts rolling. It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
That feels so empty. Not realizing all those all nighters and all those hours and all those times with friends going through the game is where I found is where true joy and happiness was happening.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, think the New Year's is one thing, and then off, late. I think last time we were on, uh, we were talking about movies, and the movie Don't Look Up came up either in the last talk or over the course of
Yeah.
that week.
It was either during the talk or the course of the week. I can't remember. I think we
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about it after. We talked about it after we got offline.
yeah. And you asked me if I seen it yet, and I was like, nah. And you was like, you should see it. It's good. Um, I was through the social media streets. I was seeing that everybody was doing that "Don't Look Up" tip, saying that you should check it out. And a lot of times when I see that, it I kind of do the opposite. I don't want to see it, or I don't want
Yeah.
to, you know. But you pushed me over the edge. You influenced me to go take a peek at it. And you know what? It really was a good movie. It just it had so many layers, I think, of messaging in it that we could spend a whole hour just talking about some of the things that we saw and some of the things that jumped out at us. But in one of the things that jumped out in me in the movie was at the end when they're sitting at the dinner table.
Yep.
And Leonardo DiCaprio makes a statement about, we really did have it all,
Yep.
Just looking at his family, looking at the friends, the friendship, looking at the good food in front of him. It's like, man, this is real. This is life. This is the good life right now. Oftentimes in life, you don't realize what you have until you lose it.
Because you're too busy looking at other stuff. Okay, she said the Let's Go Brandon campaign is so relative to that movie's message. Yeah, Samantha said it. Yeah, I'll put it up. I'm tripping. I'm watching the comments like I'm a spectator.
The comments is where all the action happens a lot of the times.
And then my wife said it was a good movie. Yeah, and actually it as you were talking about, like the theme and the message, it made me think about Kung Fu Panda. The very first one. Remember when he was trying to get to the scroll, and the whole culmination of the movie was like getting to the I forgot the name of it, the scroll. But anyway, it was just a reflection of what you were in terms of getting to the end scroll, and it was in him all along. And so that's the thing. It's she said she saw that on a truck yesterday. Let's Go Brandon. I don't even remember the reference for it. Like when I watch a movie, after I'm done watching it, like I forget everything.
You done? Yeah, I can't remember. How you make that reference. The Let's Go Brandon campaign, so relative to that movie's message. Do you know where what Let's Go Brandon means, right?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm so far removed from culture right now.
Pop culture and what's happening.
Yeah, like if you give a cultural reference, you gotta give me the whole backstory because I don't. I'm so heads down that I wouldn't have known it was snowing until I opened up my window today.
Samantha said it's becoming a hard right slogan, but it's from a race car driver.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with it.
Well, the slogan comes from I forgot. I think. Hold on.
Time to get on the internet.
Yeah. NASCAR. It was a NASCAR reference. It was a rallying cry at a NASCAR event.
Okay.
And it means F Joe Biden.
Yeah,
that's what it means.
That's what I see on the thing.
Yeah. Who never even was rallying on behalf of any party, but in an interview, the crowd was screaming, "Go away, Biden," or "F Joe Biden," and the reporter just said, "Oh, they're saying let's go, Brandon." So he changed what the crowd was saying.
I think I saw I had no idea what that was about because I think he repeated it during the interview or something. Joe Biden actually did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Somebody called in and said, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yeah.
And then Joe Biden said, not even. I don't know if he realized what the dude was saying.
Yeah, I'm sure he did at the moment. Yeah.
Or if it's kind of one of those situations where you just roll with it and just keep on going.
Yeah, just keep it moving.
Just keep it moving.
I don't know. It's funny though. But yeah, it does actually. Now that you mentioned Samantha, it does actually fit. It's apropos to the movie, and how disconnected politicians are from people and truth and all of that kind of stuff. So I definitely get it. So anyway, where are you going with it? Because I'll get sidetracked and forget what we were talking about.
Oh, I wasn't going anywhere, but I was just rolling with
about the whole subject.
Oh, just going back to just realizing that at the end of the movie, when danger was impeding, they realized that disaster was inevitable.
Yep.
It brings into crystal clear clarity of what is really meaningful and what's important. Scarcity brings value, creates value or brings value or makes you. Scarcity brings clarification.
Right.
That's what I was getting at. I heard somebody say about a lot of times in life when you're in situations where you're struggling and you're in a situation where your back is up against the wall, you get focused and things become clear as far as what's of most important in your life. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking about over the last couple of years, as far as like friendships and people that I've passed away and some of the situations that's happened. It just really brings back into into focus of what's like really important. Today, I was out and I seen an old friend that I hadn't seen in like, I don't know, a decade or so.
Wow. Yeah.
And I seen them, and when I walked in, they didn't really immediately recognize me. They were like doing their job. And when I got closer and I hollered out their name, their face lit up.
Yeah.
And this person's a hugger. So I got I got a hug or whatever. And it just brought back, to me and the importance of relationships, connections, and how important just people are in this world. No matter, they're the most important thing, as you often say, that the value is in the people, in your relationships. So just figuring out ways to find joy in your life at this present moment. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it made me think, like, on my timeline, actually, right before I got on, I saw that a friend had passed away, somebody we went to church with. And because I didn't know that what was going on. And I saw that they had died, and I was just telling my wife, I was like, I went to school with this guy and known him for years. And, it's like you said, it's just those things that you have to, cherish moments, and I find myself saying this more often than not when I talk to people here lately, is just literally talking about those kinds of things, is cherishing, the moments that you have, period. Just every moment is worth cherishing. It's not to say that you stop doing what you're doing, but it's just like, taking a break, a breather to acknowledge what you have and who's around you and who's around, who's with you, those kinds of things. And then, when you mentioned, seeing somebody that you haven't seen in a long time, it just brings back memories you forgot you even had.
And it's like, exactly what happened. You get a big rush.
Yeah. And so all those things come flooding back, and it's like, wow, it's like, it's hard to believe this much time has gone by and all of this kind of stuff. And so, time can slip away very quickly. And so you have to just cherish just the subtle things. Like, I know every day for me, and I say this all the time, but I literally cherish being around my wife and my kids. I literally cherish the hugs that I give them and those kinds of things, because I know that it's such a small fragment of this life, right? That those things could easily be taken away, and those things could easily go away. We could be living in a whole different situation just like that. And so I don't take it for granted. I don't take anything, in my life for granted. I don't take the people in my life for granted. And just the conversations, just the meaningfulness of just, interacting with other individuals. And for me, I try to surround myself by people I like to be around. So I value each one of those interactions, on a daily basis. Yesterday I talked to some guy I never met before, and we just had like an hour-long conversation.
Wow.
He was like, "Hey man, I wanted to reach out to you." I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's have a conversation." Right. And so, and it's just little things like that, just again, it's just unlocking the treasures that are in the people around us. Right. And you don't realize how much treasure is there until it's gone. And so, always be mindful. And again, it just helps you value life, period. Because I tell my kids this all the time, everything in this world is competing to destroy you. And so, each moment that you have above ground and being able to smile and laugh and even enjoy entertainment, that's a blessing. And so, keep that in mind, because it doesn't have to be. And so, always look at the benefits of the life you currently have, because it could be, by far worse.
Yeah.
And even sometimes when you think something is bad, and when that situation is gone, you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought it was.
Man.
Yeah. And so yeah, just just this conversation is more or less about just enjoying the blessings on this side of eternity, so to speak, and just acknowledging those things. And not only that, it just makes your life happier, like, period.
That's as I always say that I'm trying to get through life with as little headaches as possible. So any nugget, any scrap, any thread of light and happiness and joy that I can find, I'm going for it. I think comparison, sometimes helps bring into focus how much joy and happiness you really have in the present moment. In times past, we've had conversations where I've gone through stints where I would like read and take in a lot of rough and traumatic stories and accounts and narratives, and in doing that, it just added it just brought added more joy in realizing that, hey, where I'm at now isn't so bad. It could always be worse. It could be better, and that's what we're striving for, is the better. But at the same time, hey, it could be worse too. And where I find myself at this present moment, it's not so bad. It's good. Yeah.
And even again, just because sometimes I think about this rap verse my boy Kimba had in one of his songs. He said, I'm so focused on my future, I gotta press rewind. And it's just, sometimes you get tunnel vision, and I've been guilty of that plenty of times, that you don't realize your achievements that you currently have, the items and materials that you have now, the things that you wished you had years ago. And all of those things, which goes back to your analogy in the very beginning, is like, attaining the goal can be very anticlimactic, right? To where it's so mundane that you don't even realize you've attained the goal. And so we build these things up like so much in our head that when it comes, it's like, oh, well, I want the next thing now, right? Because the way the news cycles work anyway, they get you always wanting the next thing. The current thing is never good enough, because the next thing is what you have to have. And so we get caught up in watching these things. And so we're always trying to attain. It's like, these people get your bag and do all of this. And it's like, okay, you're not even maintaining the thing that you already do have, right? And even the Bible says, I forgot as soon as I thought about it,
the front of life.
I literally forgot the quote as I was But anyway, again, I was so focused on the future. What do you say?
We'll have to find joy in Leif's past memory capabilities.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, that's the key, man. It's just like, just being a good steward of just the life and the moments. Period.
So earlier you mentioned, about the things that's lined up in opposition against us that steals our joy. What are some of those things? Just thinking about the movie Don't Look Up, I was thinking about, like you said, the media and its ability to drown out quickly those things that, that's joyful. There's just so many competing messages and voices out there that a lot of times one way to find joy is to remove yourself from distractions on a periodic basis, even if it's no more than making a daily habit of just having those mindful moments for a few minutes. That's very important.
Yeah, like for me, so going back to what you're talking about with media, the one thing that I love about internet media is that you control what you watch, right? And so I can't think of the last time I've watched live television outside of, I watch basketball with my children because they love basketball, so we watch basketball as a family. But outside of that, I don't like being dictated to what I'm going to watch. And so for me, being able to choose the things that I put on television myself, that, keeps me grounded in a sense. Of course,
Yeah.
it's consumption, but I usually listen or do something as I'm working. And so from that perspective, uh, I control what comes in versus somebody else controlling that, right? And that's the reason why I'm so far behind on up to date, like cultural topics. Like in terms of like what I'm into what I'm into. And so
Yep.
I pay attention to that kind of stuff. But the things that I could care less about, like I don't know who like any of the rappers are, none of that stuff. I don't give a crap no more, right? And so and I do it on purpose. And so just that allows me to really hone in on the things I want to hone in on, which is my family, which is the things I'm aspiring to do, and the people that I collaborate and work with. Those are my focuses. So I don't, get distracted by the constant news cycle as much. And that's not to say that I don't see, things that pop up on an Instagram feed or whatever, but it's not my destination to look at what's going on in the world. And so that's just me. So that's one way that I can separate, the anxiety to get new things is I'm just focusing on the new things I can make versus the new things I can get.
Yeah. So managing your media is
Oh,
definitely a good way as far as
for
like
sure.
mitigating those joy stealers, those things that steal joy from you. Um, yeah, I've over the years I've cultivated, I guess, my streams
Yeah.
to all you see on my streams is just like, positive, uplifting,
Yep.
encouraging, inspirational messages, as much as I can possibly get those things coming in. And it's made a big change, when I didn't realize the power of that until I went through, a tough time and started, really realizing and understanding and looking around at the inputs in my life. And when I started changing those inputs, I noticed
Yeah.
how it just affected my environment, affected my mindset, it affected how my heart and how I felt. I was no longer in a state of fear and anxiety about, this
Yeah.
or that or what's going on. You can maintain peace and you can obtain and sustain a consistent level of joy, no matter what. Even if the world is on fire,
Yeah.
you can go into that fire calm, cool, and collected.
And sometimes you realize that the fire is manufactured, right? In
Man,
terms of like the turmoil and things like that. And that's not to say that countries in war, like that's real fire.
that's real
Like
stuff. Yeah,
that's real. But in terms of sometimes, the things that we can get caught up with, it's not necessarily as bad as they're making you perceive. She said, when I watch live television and commercials come on, I feel such a lab rat. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about in terms of like. So I've got my kids in the habit of when a commercial comes on, we mute the TV, right?
really.
Yeah, and so because my wife was like, "Why do your kids do that?" Because I've gotten in the habit of just muting the TV because they're feeding me something I don't want. Is just don't give me ideas and desires that I wasn't looking for. And
I think
so, go ahead.
I think the fact that Natalie even realizes that how it's making her
Oh, it's
feel.
huge. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge.
that's a part of the awareness. The fact that you're aware of how you feel as you're taking it in. That's
Yeah.
a big step, and you can't go back to sleep on that. Every single commercial, Shauna says, this dude's mutant stuff.
Yeah, it's like, and plus, because again, for me, I know the tactics, right? I
Yeah,
know that when a commercial comes on, the volume goes up a certain amount of level, right? And certain things, and I know, I just know certain hooks. So it's like instead of trying to combat the hooks or even talk about the hooks, let's just mute it. And then so we'll mute it. We'll go. We won't even watch the commercial. We'll mute it. Go about our day. Like we have it down to a science where we just come. We'll leave the room, come back, and then unmute when the game's on. Like that's it.
dang,
And
that's next
so
level.
so just little stuff like that, and just understanding that what people put in your head. The more somebody else puts into your head, the more they control you. right? So you need to take control of the things you put into your own head. A guy, Myron Golden, the way he puts it, he said, whoever puts the most amount of money into your brain controls you. And so, if anything, I'm going to invest my own time, my own efforts to put all that information in my brain, my children's brain, so that we can at least, at the very least, control our own thoughts and our own feelings around life.
China says our kids do this without him being in the room. Dang.
Yeah.
Level achieved. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and again, this is just this kind of stuff that just helps. He says, unfortunately, Facebook ads are another story. Those cookies know my weakness.
Precision. Yeah. It's targeted right on
That's
point.
Hilarious.
It hits those weak spots.
So here's how you can combat that, right? And so I was having this conversation with my uncle, my wife's uncle, Tuesday, and I was telling him just the way I have my computer set up, right? I only use certain browsers for certain things, right?
Okay.
So for all my Gmail and everything, and even StreamYard that we're using here, I use Chrome. However, for my financial things, I use Safari, and for my social media, I use Firefox. And the reason I use Firefox is because they have fences that they can put around cookies to where they can't track my browsing, right? So Facebook can't track my browsing and those kinds of things. So I utilize each one of those browsers for a variety of reasons, and also Firefox has better security systems in terms of like ad blocking and social media tracking. So my cookies are literally only the things that I click on in Instagram, which is pretty much everything art related. And so those are actually the only like sponsors I get. And then the way Facebook also gets around that is all the content is group driven for me. Like they're like, oh, I saw you interact with this group, so I'm gonna throw this stuff out to you from this group, that kind of stuff. So you can control it to some extent if you understand the ways that they get at you. Another way you can control the ads that are, I guess, targeted towards you is by unfollowing people. Like you can still be friends with them, but start unfollowing people. So that way you can curate like Kevin was saying, you can curate the kind of content that comes up in your feed. And so yeah, because even for myself, I was like, you know what, I need to start curating my Instagram again, because now I'm getting more business people leaked in with my art stuff, and I don't like it. So I need
it's an ongoing challenge. It's just not something you do once.
Yeah, it's not a one and done. You got to constantly curate that stuff if you're going to participate in that system, right? Otherwise, you don't have to participate in the system at all. You know, I know most people nowadays, they utilize Instagram, Facebook, social media is more of a business platform than anything else. So you just have to figure out how you want to navigate that and make sure it's not a distraction. For example, before I got on the live with Kevin, like the one thing I do like about Apple, and there's other, caveats to that, because I know that they're tracking other stuff too. But, it's like, they have focus to where you can turn off all the notifications and alarms if you want to focus on some work. So, like the do not disturb, right? And, it works so well, I was missing calls. And so, so you can set up the do not disturb for a certain period of time on your devices if you use Apple products. I'm sure Android or, Windows stuff has similar things. So you can utilize that to, again, curb the attention stealers that you have, and curb those things that manipulate your emotions, to where you have more control over your day and over your mindset. So those are just some little tips that I personally use. And then also I just get busy on the work I'm doing. And so that's another way to get focused. Is, again, I control what I see the majority of the time, but that's not to say I control what I see or hear the 100% of the time.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to catch everything, but just, doing what you can, when you can, while you can, that definitely is something that helps a whole lot. And it's little things that, adds up to much. It adds up to a lot. over time. Talking about turning down your notifications and stuff. I did that a while back on my phone. I turned
Yeah.
off all my notifications except for like one or two things, and it's made it does make a big difference
Oh, huge.
throughout the day. Yeah, I didn't. You don't realize it until
Huge.
you actually go through it and do it. A book, Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, is something that kind of helped me bring into focus. The how to cultivate and curate your digital life
Yep.
so that it can be something that doesn't hinder you, but it's something that helps you. So yeah, that's something that can be done as far as cultivating and curating joy in your
Yeah, and
life.
one of the things that I did as well, because ironically I saw from Floyd Mayweather, he was talking about how he didn't have social media on his phone. And so I didn't take it off my phone yet because like I said, now, like the only reason why I have notifications on now is because we're running a campaign, that kind of stuff. But in terms of like, I made it more difficult to access. And what I mean by that, I took it off my home screen. So now I have to physically search for it, in order to access like my Instagram or my Facebook on my phone. So I'm not constantly looking at it, right? And so little stuff that you can do to tweak how you interact with those things definitely helps. I mean, my computer, then I'm here all day and I can go look. But like I said, now I'm looking at campaigns. So that's kind of one of the things that I do. Oh, it was Cal Newport.
Minimalism.
Digital Minimalism is the name of the book.
Choosing a focused life in a noisy world. And he's written two other books we've often talked about. Oh man, what is his books?
Yeah, no, it's like I forgot about. Deep Focus.
Yes, Deep Focus. That's the one we talked about a lot, years ago. And in that book, he just talks about it's becoming more of a superpower.
Oh yeah.
To be able to sit in one spot and focus your attention for a length of time. And I can definitely see that. I hate to say it, in my household, having the ability to just sit and focus on one thing for a pretty good length of time. It's becoming harder and harder to do.
Yep.
It's something that you have to constantly, keep fighting against and keep honing and cultivating and focusing on in today's world, especially with the rise of TikTok. TikTok is becoming even more of a behemoth in comparison to Google and stuff. So just sitting there, man,
it's because I know we used to talk about this years ago, Lamar and myself, back when we were like first getting into digital gaming, and we were talking about how to design our screens. And I'm talking about in terms of making it right. And then that was when see who I'm trying to think of who actually brought on the infinite scroll to where because Facebook's, I know Facebook was using it. No, infinite scroll is on Facebook as well. And because what they would do if there wasn't a lot of content, they would just loop it back.
Okay.
So if you scrolled, it's like, okay, they would just loop it back. They would just loop the top back. And of course, until they got users to where now you can literally just infinitely scroll. And so that concept is there to get you to not leave. And, and so when you mentioned TikTok, it made me think about that because they just feed you they just feed you the next content. So literally it's just a whole bunch of commercial reels. I talk about turning off commercials. That's literally all TikTok is. It's just commercial reels. And there's some funny things on there, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but again, if you can't, and this really goes into to how you're wired in self-control, because if you can't walk away from it, then they got you hooked, and you're gonna start crashing a whole lot of other stuff in your own personal life. So it's really now it's like the real battle in terms of attention is, can you control your own attention, right? Because these media things, like you said, those cookies know her weakness. What Natalie was talking about, and it's the same thing with Instagram, with TikTok, with Facebook, or whatever. They know your weaknesses, so they'll keep throwing them at you. Even when you're not looking for them. And so you got to be very careful.
You're making me think of the movie and Don't Look Up. The social media guy, the head guy.
Yeah.
You know, in one scene he's talking to Leonardo, and it's like I know 40 million points.
Yeah.
Data points on you.
Yep.
I know when you're gonna die. Type.
Yeah,
type
exactly. That was funny. He's like, and I know how you're gonna die.
Yeah. Well, in that scene, it made me just realize the importance of no matter how good this technology gets, you can't beat the human will.
Yeah, because he actually went against how he was supposed to die, whereas the president who
didn't
exactly the way she was supposed to die. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so he beat the algorithm and just gave me hope.
Yeah, because the algorithm only works as good as your connection, right? And so when you start, disrupting your own connection to the algorithm, like I know Kevin and I have talked about this in the past, just watching stuff that you normally don't like, just to confuse the algorithm and those kinds of things. But again, the best thing you can do is disconnect. But here's the caveat, because Kevin and I have talked about this before as well. They punish you when you walk away, and understand that that's going to happen. And what I mean by that is your reach, that your reach and your span. No, just in terms of your reach to other people diminishes the less you interact. It's a hamster wheel effect that you have to constantly get on the hamster wheel in order to get the response of other people seeing you. So you got to stay. So you got to really learn how to navigate that. And of course, you can combat bots with bots. And what I mean by that, you can get schedulers, you can get all kinds of things in order to keep your interaction up without having to physically interact.
Mm-hmm. So, if you want to, and you have to know your reasoning and your purpose for being on these platforms in the first place in order to know what tools you want to use and implement. Sure. And I mean, we're at the point now where you have to it's good to cultivate some kind. You don't have to, but it's good to cultivate some kind of digital presence. Yeah. Given that the world is moving in that direction, at least get familiar with it, know how it works and how things interact and happen in the digital world. Given that we all are being pushed in that direction, kicking and screaming. Some of us, some of us are leading the charge.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the fray, so I'm not necessarily kicking and screaming, but I'm very well aware of what's going on. To some degree, I don't know everything, obviously, but so I try to safeguard myself in a lot of ways. And sometimes the way I stay disciplined, if I like something, I'll just stop doing it just because, just to keep myself, and just to make sure that I can rein myself in. And so I make sure that I don't do certain things. Like that's why I don't really play games anymore. Like I haven't played games in a while. Like I got the VR stuff and all of that, but I don't even use it for games anymore. I use it to make stuff.
Yeah. So what are some ways that we can find joy?
Again, just acknowledging what's around you. What you say, bro?
Said connections, relationships.
Yep.
Good food.
Yep. The 4 C's.
Yeah, I know. 4 C's, contribute, connect.
Cooking and community.
Cooking and realizing there's more to life than meets the eye. Shauna says, you gonna put that up? Okay. I have noticed that they offer badges the more you interact. There is a person I follow that offered me a badge, and if I interacted more, and that was only after liking one of their posts. Yep. Yeah, that's a often used group tactic as far as gamification and keeping participation and interaction happening, because that's what the algorithms look for. Yep. They look for interaction and participation.
And here's the thing, real quick, for any of you that are, hey, what's up, Bomo? Any of you that are looking to understand marketing or need to know, like if you have a product that you want to push or whatever, just pay attention to what's being done to you.
Yeah.
Just take a step back, look at what's being done to you. It's like, oh, how do I keep people engaged? Oh, you give them rewards, you give them badges that mean nothing. Just little stuff like that. You incentivize people to keep going. And so, the things that are working on you work on everybody, so you can extract that information and utilize it for your own business or your own goods and services in terms of reproducing that out to the world. You're not going to be as sophisticated obviously as a 24/7 robot, but in thousands of people, but you can at least understand the game, and hopefully that'll make you want to start researching more and seeing how this stuff works against you and how it can actually work for you as well.
And those are tactics that you can just use in your personal life just to enhance and affect in a positive manner relationships and interactions and things that goes on in your personal life. I know a lot of some of the stuff that I've gleaned from marketing and from other areas I've used in my personal life that has helped enhance and make better some of my connections and interactions.
Yeah, because the way I look at it as well, like you said, using in your personal life, everything is, we talk about like, customer relations, customer experience. And in life, that's the way I try to treat everybody as much as humanly possible. Not to say that I'm trying to sell them anything, but what I'm saying is just having a good customer experience, right? If you come into interaction with me, was I pleasant? Was I nice to you? Did I treat you well? Did I not lie to you? Because I hate that from salespeople. Just so little things like that, and again, that'll help cultivate who you are as a person and how you interact with other people. Are you pleasant to be around? If you're not, then maybe you keep your distance until you're ready to interact and engage with people, right? If you're always grumpy and moody, then you need to work on that and stay away from people until you get yourself in check. Because again, those experiences, people won't forget. People don't forget bad experiences ever. Mm-hmm. And so you have to think about that. And again, utilize, like I said, the tactics that are happening in terms of like how things are marketed to you and those kinds of things. It's like, why is it that, these cookies know your weakness, identify what your weakness is in terms of the things that you like and identify why you like those things, right? And then if you can uncover that, then you can uncover your own personality. And then also you can uncover how to basically interact with other people in a more pleasant way. So that's another life hack in terms of utilizing marketing and marketing strategies to make the psychology work for you in terms of improving yourself as well as working for those that come into contact with you.
Yes. So finding joy, Leif. What are some other ways? Like I'm thinking about snow outside right now, and some people find joy in jumping in snow. I personally don't.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So my kids do.
That's what I was trying to say. When I was a kid, it's on.
Yeah, running noses and snot didn't matter, right? But as an adult, I find joy in staying warm. And for my kids, they find joy in anticipating going outside in the snow. So it's just the little things in life, right? Just and even from the standpoint of snow, like it hasn't snowed, until just now, this particular winter, and just enjoying the experience of that, right? It's like, okay, it comes around, 3 weeks out of the year kind of thing, and just being able to find joy. Like I don't get outside anyway, so I can care less, but I do understand, the cycles, and I try not to complain about those things because it is what it is, and just accept what it is.
It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't.
Exactly. So it's not summer, and I understand that. So there's no need for me to complain about it not being summer.
But take a trip. Traveling is another way of finding joy in life if you can.
True.
Yeah. Well, Leif, that's all I got for today, tonight, evening, morning, whenever you find this conversation. Today we just want to come on and have a conversation about finding and cultivating joy in your life, wherever you may find yourself. Given that I know that a lot of people's mindsets right now at the beginning of the year is focused on the future and goal attainment. And off, what is this? 6. Usually the goal attainment starts falling off right around the first, second week, for many of us, me included.
Living life like normal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is nothing magical about this time?
I mean, those was a good first couple of days in the new year I had. So
I did 3 push-ups.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good till next year. So just having a conversation about cultivating joy and finding it in the here and now. That's very important, given the times that we live in. And it's beneficial in that it helps you have a positive outlook on life and help you live a good life, a joyful life, a content and happy life, versus one in which you can't wait to check out. So we definitely don't want you checking out earlier than what you have to be. We want you to stick around and have your full shelf life realized. I know I want my full shelf life realized and to be celebrated. I want there to be weeping and gnashing of teeth as I end my days. No, don't go. I don't want to be like, hey, hurry up and get out of here. So we definitely don't want that.
Live your life to the fullest. And again, if you're around loved ones, make sure you hug them and kiss on them while you can. Enjoy their presence. And just like you said, live your full shelf life as much as you can. Make sure that you maintenance the engine of your body. Make sure that you take care of your mental. And again, just to see the beauty of
your heart.
That's around you on a daily basis. Also, before I get off, we are running a NFT campaign. I got to throw that out there. This is the first of many different projects that I've been working on the past few years. Not the past few years, the past year, past 6 months actually. Project managed and creative directed this particular NFT. I got another one coming out next month with another partnership. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But yeah, definitely take advantage right now while it's early and get a free NFT. Just go by going to the Discord. I'll post it I'll post the link, and then that way you can figure out see the steps of what it takes to actually get the free NFT. But anyway, we appreciate you. We thank you for your time and your presence, your commentary, just paying attention to these two rusty guys on your screen. We don't take it for granted at all. Do the general sign out, Kev.
We definitely appreciate the time and attention that you spend with us. We don't take it for granted. Hopefully the return on your investment is worth your while. Hopefully you grabbed a nugget of a pebble of positivity that can help you along the ways in these internet streets. It can get rough in the internet streets out there.
Oh yeah.
And we want you to be positive as you scroll through all the stuff that's going on out there. So that's all we got. Hit like, share, let us know what you think.
Yep. Two Shy Guys and a mic signing out. He said there's nothing else that you